Hello and welcome to another American Reacts. We're reacting to why Saudi Arabia is building a linear city. This is from Neo. Sounds interesting. Linear city, I have no idea what to expect. Let's watch it.
In January of this year, the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince announced an immense new development project that is supposed to set a blueprint for the future of his country and the world.
اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم نقدم لكم The Line.
The line.
He announced that the kingdom will build a city that stretches along a single 100-mile long line.
What? Whoa. Okay, I'm intrigued. That's one heck of an intro. A linear city, which I knew that would pretty much mean line. But how's this going to be done, right? That's totally opposite of what we think as a city is usually a grid, right? Mostly rectangular, square, sometimes circulish, but it's always like the same, intersections and streets next to each other and perpendicular and parallel. This is interesting. So let's see how they're going to do this and why, right?
The linear city is part of a larger development project planned by the Saudi Arabian government. The economy of Saudi Arabia is heavily dependent on the oil industry, which historically has ensured growth and led to the country now being the 18th largest economy in the world by gross domestic product. Saudi
Big
Arabia
country by
has the
landmass
second
too.
largest oil reserves on the planet.
Wow. Let's take a look at that. Venezuela is #1 for billions of barrels. That's actually news to me. I'm surprised I didn't know. I thought Saudi Arabia might have been #1, but they're definitely close #2. Canada has a lot. Yep. Iran and Iraq, Kuwait, UAE. So that whole region is just oil rich. Like, it's just so full of those oil reserves. That's impressive. Russia has some, Libya and Nigeria. Interesting.
While the oil industry is the strength of the country, it has also been recognized that there is a risk in this dependency. Therefore, the government is trying to diversify the economy. As part of the Saudi Vision 2030 initiative, the country is investing primarily in large infrastructure projects, education, scientific research, the healthcare system, and the tourism sector. The goal is to pave the way for—
Hey, that's always smart to diversify your portfolio. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Even though they're in a great spot with their oil, always better to, just in case, you never know what could happen down the road, have some other avenues, right? Big thing I learned in another video is their tourism wasn't barely a thing until very recently. That's a smart move. People are fascinated by this region of the world, and Saudi Arabia is the biggest country over there by size. People want to see it, and I mean, look at the beautiful deserts, the mountains, the dunes, the cities, the architecture. People want to see it, and that's I think tourism is gonna be big for them.
For new industries,
big money maker,
in which the focus is primarily on future technologies such as renewable power.
For sure.
And this is a development that can be seen across the Arabian Peninsula, with nations starting ambitious future programs. Even if these initiatives differ from one another in terms of scope and objectives, what they have in common is that they include structural investments that are designed to expand the regional economy to new areas. The Vision 2030 initiative of Saudi Arabia was announced in April 2016. The project is pushed forward by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the son of the Saudi ruler, King Salman. Despite officially being Crown Prince and Minister of Defense, bin Salman is already regarded as the de facto leader of the country. The Line City is part of perhaps the biggest project of this bigger campaign initiated by bin Salman.
It's gonna be crazy. Look at that. Very intriguing, right?
Neom is being built in the Tabuk province of Saudi Arabia. Here, the government has set up a zone for the new city. The area is located on the Gulf of Aqaba and the Red Sea, with the Straits of Tiran connecting both. On the opposite side of the strait lies Sharm el-Sheikh. This Egyptian city is economically completely geared towards tourism and is one of the most popular and expensive seaside resorts in Egypt. This success should now be duplicated on the other side in Neom. The two islands, Tiran and Sanafir,
those are part of Saudi Arabia,
disputed between Egypt and Saudi Arabia,
which I've heard about.
While Egypt has controlled them in the past, the Egyptian parliament approved the transfer of these islands to Saudi Arabia in 2017. This
Very
agreement
recent.
paves the way for a causeway that would connect the two countries. As part of the Neom project, a bridge is planned across the Tiran Strait. This would create a land connection from North Africa to the Arabian Peninsula, bypassing Israel. But the largest project in Neom at the moment is not intended for the general public. It is a huge park complex consisting of several palaces for the Saudi king, the crown prince, his brother, as well as several villas for other members of the royal family. This year, for the first time, plans have been presented for how the actual city in Neom will look like. This city concept should bring a number of advantages, which Bin Salman hopes will make it the city of the future. The city will be structured on 3 different levels. On ground level, there will be a complete pedestrian zone without any roads and cars.
Whoa.
Green parks should encourage walking and leisure activities.
What?
The second level should work as a service level, hosting shops and other commercial space.
Wow.
The third,
that's different.
lowest level will be the spine of the city. This is where goods and people will transport across the city.
Oh,
An
wow.
ultra-high-speed transit, which should allow people to travel to any
No
point
way.
along the line within just 20 minutes.
Oh, that's crazy. Because if we're talking about a city that's 100 miles long, I mean, that's just mind-blowing, right? That's all the same city that you could be 100 miles away from someone at the other side. But to be able to get there in 20 minutes or less, that's just, wow. That is next level, right? It's one of those that you wouldn't think you need to redefine a city, but when you see it explained in such a drastic different way,
This spine,
there could be advantages here, and it just sounds so crazy. It's so different, but it's very interesting.
connects different city modules with each other, so that all errands and activities can be done by public transport and walking.
Wow.
على مدى العصور والحضارات كانت تبنى المدن لحماية الإنسان بمساحات ضيقة، وبعد الثورة الصناعية بنيت المدن لتضع الآلة والسيارة والمصنع قبل الإنسان.
Yeah, that's partially true,
The
huh?
entire layout is designed around the premise that many big cities of today are a result of the Industrial Revolution, and as such were built more for machines, cars, and industry rather than for people that live in it. But whether a rigid line will result in a city that tailors more towards people's needs will remain to be seen. The line aims to reduce the need.
You know, it's interesting seeing it mapped out, right? That's so long. It's weird. Like, how do you handle right here, like this mountain range, right? It has to go through a mountain here. There's just not much you can do about that. I wonder how that would be handled. I guess for like the top layer and I guess all the layers, really. It's just, I have so many questions, right? Like most people would. It's very
and organize all of
such
its
a new
services
concept
in a sustainable manner, as the city will be powered entirely by clean energy.
Wow.
In addition, artificial intelligence is to be used to simplify the lives of residents and use resources more effectively.
Tell me in the comments, what do you think of that, right? I mean, we are here. Like, the future is here. We've kind of just, in the last few years, we've transitioned from the life as we know it to just an influx of electric cars and, you know, automated transportation systems, self-driving cars, self-driving trains, electric, hydrogen, you name it. It's all been in the works, and it's crazy. It's overload of like tech coming at us. And the big thing is AI, right? AI, that's pretty weird. It's just weird to, how do you transition into that? So what do you think about a purely like next level, next gen, pure electric AI heavy system, right? Is that awesome, or does that kind of scare you? Let me know down in the comments.
The Saudi Arabian government has announced that it will invest 500 billion US dollars in the NEOM project.
Dang. Yeah, I imagine that would be hella costly for sure.
When considering this project, a number of questions arise, and much remains unclear. While the city's focus on green technologies is aimed to ensure a sustainable relationship with the planet, the city's layout design quite literally cuts through its surroundings, forcing its way through tough terrain, rather than embracing natural features such as the coastline, which seems to remain rather inaccessible. While the linear form is fascinating and would be a spectacular thing to see from space, how this layout itself contributes to sustainability and shorter transit times despite longer distances has not been explained yet. And even if the radical nature of this draft is fascinating as a design study, in practice the question still arises as to whether this layout will allow any natural radiating city growth. The concept should achieve a different goal, which is to generate attention. The kingdom is promoting this project worldwide with internet ads, cable TV commercials, and a series of online explanatory videos. The government is trying to find investors, and the linear concept attracts attention. At this point, it should be noted that a linear city isn't an entirely new idea. For example, the Spanish city planner Arturo Soria Mata developed plans for linear cities in the 1880s.
Did not know that.
He envisioned that due to the narrow shape of a linear city along fewer transport routes, every citizen would have close access to the nature and farmland around. He strove to create a city that embraced its rural areas, which he believed would create an improved balance of rural and urban life.
I suppose it could if you live in the middle of a city.
After the founding of the Soviet Union,
could be a while before
Russian
you get to the outskirts.
Planner Nikolai Alexandrovich Miljutin took up this idea as well and partially implemented it in the cities of Volgograd and Magnitogorsk. Few remains, as it will be interesting to see whether the implemented visions of rulers and architects will align with the needs of people that will actually live in the line. Especially since people are currently being forcibly displaced in order to create space for NEOM. The Al-Huratai tribe who live in this area is calling for an investigation by the United Nations because they're being forced to give up their homes for this prestige project.
That's too bad.
The government wants to set up NEOM as a free trade zone with its own tax system and its own legal system. This is intended to create an environment for global investors in which they can enjoy a certain degree of security and are not deterred by Saudi Arabia's ultra-conservative Sharia-based legal system. Here, an approach similar to the United Arab Emirates might be considered. In 2006, the UAE created separate English-language common law courts in order to be able to guarantee international standards within the Dubai International Financial Center, a special economic zone. These courts can now also hear cases outside of the economic zone, and they provide independent jurisdiction governing civil and commercial disputes.
That's
while
interesting.
Other laws of the United Arab Emirates, such as criminal law, are unaffected.
So anyway, keeping it simple here, staying out of political stuff, what would you think of this linear city just anywhere, really? Is this a concept that's feasible? We've gone this long in humanity, right, where we really haven't done a straight-up linear city. But it's very intriguing for a few reasons and seems like it could do a few things very well, but then, of course, raises some questions and or concerns as well, just like anything really would, right? So It's obviously not proven yet because it's not a totally real thing yet. So what do you think of it? You know, it's supposed to. Maybe it would be even better. Maybe it would be not as good. I'm not sure. But it's definitely interesting, and it's different, right? It's as different as you can get. I think I'd probably stick to regular cities, but I don't know. It's just because it's so different. So it is bizarre. There's something, I guess, about cruising around a regular city or walking around a regular city and always having different directions to go, right? So I don't know. It seems like it'd be a different way of exploring. Maybe that taken away a little bit. I'm not sure. But tell me what you guys think. I'll read a couple comments here. Wow, I hadn't heard of this. Thanks for the excellent video. Yeah, I've never heard of it either. My City Skyline. Yeah, that's a video game. I've never played it, but I'm sure that people have built linear cities in video games before. This gives downtown a whole new meaning. Very difficult for Fast and Furious team to escape the cops just one straight road. Yeah, Fast and Furious movies. Oh, man. Yeah, how would you escape, right? You just gotta drive straight. Hope you can outrun them, I guess. Welcome to the city where no one ever gets lost. No directions needed. Just tell them when to stop. I mean, I guess you're right. Like, I guess how could you really get lost? You're only going up or down, right? You know, straight or back. Very interesting to learn about, for sure. And we live in an age where there's lots of tech and lots of, you know, new ideas trying to be brought to fruition. So definitely throw a thumbs up on there. I'll throw a thumbs up on this. Throw a thumbs up on my video if you enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Subscribe for tons of awesome content. And of course, I'll catch you later.